The second verse is about Article 2 of the U.S. Constitution, which establishes the executive branch. So the first three lines we're going to look at. In Article 2, an executive and the cabinet enforce a law once they have it. So again, Article 2 establishes the executive branch headed by the president, and the president selects a cabinet for people, a bunch of really smart people that help the president make tough decisions. So here's how we're going to demonstrate this. In Article 2, an executive, so I've got my tie, executive and the cabinet. So the executive, the president is flanked by all these people, this cabinet, these secretaries and whatnot that help the president, inform the president to make tough decisions. Enforce a law once they have it. So the president signs a law and then approves it from Congress. So if the president signs a law, it becomes a law of the people and for the people. And the executive branch's job is to enforce that law, make sure people fall in line, understand the law, and then fall in line with that law. All right, so again, in Article 2, an executive and the cabinet enforce a law once they have it. All right, next is talking about some of the presidential powers and more details of the presidency. The president is the commander-in-chief if someone wants to start static. A term of 4 years in the White House, select a cabinet, to help out. So the president is the head of the armed forces, so it's the commander-in-chief. So if someone wants to start static, another country attacks us, for example, the president is the commander-in-chief, head of the armed forces, and they make the decisions about what the armed forces does to respond if someone starts static. And then a term of 4 years in the White House, so a presidential term is 4 years, and they select a cabinet to help them out to make those tough decisions. So here's how we're going to illustrate that. The president is the commander-in-chief, so got some binoculars here. President is commander-in-chief and sending the armed forces out. If someone wants to start static, if someone wants to start a problem, start a war, a term of 4 years in the White House, select a cabinet, and we got our people again around us, our smart people advising us, a cabinet, to help out. And then the last part of the song talks about checks and balances. So they can veto a law, the executive branch, the president specifically. They can veto a law, appoint a judge in the fall, checks and balances, we've seen them all. So the president can get a law that was passed in Congress, and the president gets that law, and the president can say, well, no, we're going to have checks and balances here. This law is not good for the people, and you can veto and throw out that law and send it back to Congress. So can veto a law, and that's the checks and balances for Congress. And then appoint a judge in the fall. The president appoints judges, federal judges, so that they have life terms as judges. So you have all different kinds of judges as our federal judges, and that makes sure that everyone, that the justice system is fair, because you have a whole number of different perspectives in our judges, and a president can't go in and say fire a judge, because all judges have life terms, or they can be judges for their lives. And then checks and balances, we've seen them all. These are checks and balances for the legislature and for the judicial branch. So here's how we're going to demonstrate that. They can veto a law, so we've got to get a law from Congress. We can veto a law, we're throwing that out, or throwing that back to Congress, really. That's not good. I'm going to throw that back to Congress. Appoint a judge in the fall. I'm going to appoint a federal judge, and they can be a judge for their life. And then checks and balances, we've seen them all. Which we really haven't yet, but that's what the song says. All right, let's try the whole thing slowly. In Article 2, an executive and the cabinet enforce a law once they have it. The president is commander-in-chief if someone wants to start static. A term of 4 years in the White House. Select a cabinet, to help out. They can veto a law, appoint a judge in the fall. Checks and balances, we've seen them all. All right, let's go ahead and try it with the music.
Always
is popular and sovereign when the people run the nation. Domestic tranquility keeps peace at home, and the common defense will keep our armies strong, while the general welfare helps us start a little healthcare, securing our liberty for future generations. In Article 2, an executive and the cabinet enforce a law once they have it. The president is the commander-in-chief if someone wants to start static. A term of 4 years in the White House, select a cabinet, yeah, to help out. They can veto a law, appoint a judge in the fall, checks and balances, we've seen them all. Good, let's try it one more time. Helps the people with health care, securing our liberty for future generations. In Article 2, an executive and the cabinet enforce a law once they have it. The president is the commander-in-chief if someone wants to start static. A term of 4 years in the White House, select a cabinet, yeah, to help out. They can veto a law, appoint a judge in the fall, checks and balances, we've seen them all. The preamble. So that is the second verse.